Hey, welcome. We're going to dig into a plant you probably interact with every single day, but maybe don't give a second thought to. I'm talking about sugarcane. And trust me, its story is way, way bigger and more influential than you might think.
Okay, so let's just kick things off with a number that might actually blow your mind. Over 85%. Just let that sink in for a second. More than 85% of all the sugar we eat on this entire planet comes from this one single kind of unassuming tropical grass. I mean, that is a staggering level of dominance in our global food system. So yeah, that brings us to the big question, right? How on earth did a simple tropical grass manage to basically take over the world? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go way back in time.
All right, our story kicks off in the ancient world. We're going to trace the incredible journey of this plant, all the way from its wild origins to the exact moment it was transformed into a global powerhouse. So this timeline really puts its long, long history into perspective. It all starts in the jungles of New Guinea. That's its native home. But the real turning point, the absolute game changer, happens around 350 AD in India. This is where the magic happens. They figure out how to crystallize sugarcane juice into granules. I mean, think about that. This one single innovation was so revolutionary, it was carried all across Asia by traders and monks, and it literally changed the world's palate forever. Okay, so we know where it came from, but that doesn't really explain why it grows where it does today. Well, like a lot of plants, sugarcane is actually pretty picky about its home. It needs a very specific recipe of ingredients to really thrive. And this lays out the perfect conditions perfectly. You can really think of it as a three-step recipe for the perfect harvest. So, step one, you need warmth. A tropical climate, ideally somewhere between 21 and 27 degrees Celsius. Step two, water, and lots of it. We're talking 100 to 200 centimeters of rain a year. And if you don't get it naturally, you've got to have some serious irrigation. And finally, step three, the right soil. It's got to be deep, fertile, and well-drained. You get those three things right, bam, you've got yourself a sugarcane hotspot. So because it has those very specific needs, it's created a really clear map of where it's grown around the world. Let's jump into the modern era and see who the real sugar giants are today. And, well, it's no surprise that the countries with those perfect climates totally dominate the charts. Brazil is the undisputed world champion. I mean, the largest producer by a huge margin. Then you've got India coming in at number 2 and China at number 3. These three nations are the absolute powerhouses of sugarcane on the planet. But what's really interesting is how this whole thing plays out within a single country. So let's zoom in a bit. We're going to take a closer look at India, the world's second biggest producer, and see what's happening on a national level. And what you see right away is that even inside a massive country like India, production is not spread out evenly at all. Nope. One state, Uttar Pradesh, is the absolute king of sugarcane. Then you have Maharashtra and Karnataka right behind it. So here's the key takeaway. A handful of very specific regions inside these giant producing countries are responsible for a huge chunk of the world's entire supply. It's super concentrated. So this concentration of production creates this really fascinating flow of global trade. On one side, you've got the export giants, Brazil, Thailand, Australia, countries that grow way more than they can possibly use themselves. And then on the other side, you have the major importers, like China, the EU, and the USA, all with a massive sweet tooth that they can't satisfy at home. And that right there is what creates this huge, interconnected global market for sugar. But wait, there's a final twist in our story. See, if you think of sugarcane as just the stuff that becomes white table sugar, you're missing a huge part of the picture. This plant is so much more versatile than most people realize. And this chart just drives that point home. I mean, yeah, of course, a huge slice of it gets turned into the refined sugar we all know, but it's also used to make jaggery or gud, which is a traditional unrefined sugar that's super popular in Asia. Then you've got the leftover molasses, which has tons of industrial uses. And, this is a big one, sugarcane is increasingly being used to create ethanol, a biofuel. It's this incredible versatility that makes it such a vital cash crop for millions of farmers, supporting entire economies. And that brings us to our final, and I think pretty provocative thought. As our world keeps searching pretty urgently for new and sustainable energy sources, it leaves us with a really fascinating question. Is this ancient plant's future going to be defined by fuel instead of food? It's a powerful thing to think about, and it's a reminder that the story of this simple tropical grass, well, it's far from over.